we've now shifted to the spiritual side, spiritual investment. So we are going to discuss the depth and breadth of giving. Giving is a spiritual investment. So giving and its contribution to our fiscal incomes and wealth. That's what we are going to discuss today. For fiscal investments, we know the yield is in cash, it's in money. When it comes to spiritual investment, the yield is also in money, fiscal wealth, together with varied benefits that affects all aspects of life. So it goes wider and deeper than fiscal investment, the yield from fiscal investment. For fiscal investment, one does the investment and you are not certain about the outcome. It could be a gain, it could be a loss. But when it comes to spiritual investment, you undertake the investment and the yield is certain, is sure. Because the one who is to pay the interest or the income flow is a faithful one. So that is the spiritual investment. For fiscal investment, we get the yield over here on earth. For spiritual investment, the yield is spread. We get part of it here on earth, and part of it goes to eternity. So spiritual investment is such a wide and very important aspect of our life. That is why after discussing fiscal investment, we need to shift to spiritual investment, because it really contributes tremendously to our fiscal wealth and incomes also. So our key text is Deuteronomy 8:17 and 18, which says, you may say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. What is important to me here is, but remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Ability here means several things. Give us the gift of life, all the opportunities that are available to us, and several things, time and everything. God provides all these things and they contribute to our fiscal incomes and wealth. And that is what the base of what we are going to discuss. If anyone is desirous to increase wealth and incomes, then one most important habit to cultivate is the habit of giving. It appears to be paradoxical, because the carnal mind thinks that to accumulate money and wealth, one need to hold on to money, any money that is received. But then the Bible talks about giving in order to be increased. So it seems a bit irrational and counterintuitive. But a faithful God who has said it And anyone who has practiced it see that it is real and works miraculously. So when we talk of wealth, as we have already discussed in course of the week, we said there are two agents who contribute. Human labor contributes to our incomes and wealth, and God also contributes to our incomes and wealth. I don't know whether you've taken time to analyze God's contribution before, but at least take the work that you are doing. Somebody needed the same job and couldn't, but you applied and you got it. Somebody worked behind it for you to get it. You always move from your house to the workplace. That very road that you apply every day, somebody plied it and had an accident and probably died. But you ply it always and you are safe. There's a hand that is behind it. Many people applied to get visas from Ghana, and even probably most of them were wealthier than you when you were in Ghana and couldn't get a visa. You applied and you got a visa and got there. There's a vision for many countless of people, but till now they haven't been able to achieve it, but you have achieved it. There was a hand behind it. So you just continue to count it. And when you continue to analyze it, you see that the incomes that you are earning and the wealth that you've been able to acquire now, there's a hand, there's a contribution indirectly that we may not readily see. And that is God's contribution. So God's contribution has two components. There are the unconditional side and the conditional side. There are some things that God does for everyone, whether the person worships Him or not, whether the person is obedient or not. The sunshine, the air, and the whole lot of things are provided free to everyone, irrespective of whether the person worships God or not. And there are some things that are conditional. I believe all those of us who are parents and have children, you understand this. Sometimes you tend to love one of your children, one or more than others. Why? Because of their obedience. So you can do some things for all of them, but there's a particular thing that you can do for only the one who is obedient. Sometimes when people are making wealth, they have nephews and children and all others, but they choose one or two and give them more. Why? Because of obedience. So the same thing applies. Some of the benefits, some of the blessings from God are conditional. And when we come to income and wealth, the major condition is consistent giving habit. Consistent giving habit. It's a command, it's an instruction from God, and therefore anyone who is obedient to it receive the associated blessings from God. So in this pure sense, giving is a spiritual concept. God within his very nature is a giver of all good things. And that is why we, the followers, Christians, must learn to be also givers. So we are taking the principle of giving and discuss few aspects of it. So now, what is the basis for giving? The basis for giving should not be motivated by vainglory. The motivating factor must be the love for God. Why? It's because God has given so much to us already and continues to give us so much. He has done so marvelously, showers all kinds of blessings unto us. And because he continues to give, because he has already given and he continues to give, we imitate him. We learn to also give. So the motivating factor must be our love for God because he loved us first. The second aspect of it is that we must give first ourselves, which is the best offering, the best gift that we can give. When we read 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 5, the Bible says, and they did not do as we expected, but they gave themselves first to the Lord and then to us in keeping with God's word. Paul was testifying about the people in Macedonian churches. And Paul is saying that these people, whatever they explained to them, they were expecting some things, but they saw that the people gave themselves first to the Lord before they gave their monies, offerings, and other things. That is the principle. God has an order. The order of God is that we, his followers, give ourselves to him first before any other thing. If we give ourselves to him, we believe in him, we have faith in him, we are willing to worship him, be obedient to him, then whatever other resources that we give to him or to others will be a blessing unto us. He is pleased with that. God is not really pleased with the gifts of those who disobey him. So we give ourselves first and the rest follow. The third principle is that giving must be a lifestyle. Giving must be a lifestyle. Proverbs 11:24 and 25 states, there is that scattered and yet increase, and there is that withhold more than is meet, but it tends to poverty. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that waters shall be watered also himself or herself. So there are people who continue to scatter wherever they are. They think around, some to God, some to all kinds of people. From time to time, structured, and God continues to bless them. There are some who think generosity is just one of 10, it's an event. So they do one, and for a very long time, they haven't done any. So they don't take it as lifestyle. But to be blessed, one must learn it as a lifestyle. It must be well structured, well planned. A study of several millionaires show that they have a plan for giving. Some of them have a certain percentage of their income for the month. Some of them make it 5%, some of them make it 10%. They deduct it straight away, and they have a plan of allocating. So every month, this percentage goes to that account and is spread to the needy people. I learned about it when I did not have anything. My monthly pay, I had a percentage that I removed into a certain envelope, separate envelope from the tithe and offering card. The gifts and so on, the same percentage applied. And I had a plan of giving, and it moved, and I saw how God worked on it, because that's one of the seed when planted receive great blessings from God. One wise man said, all those who live to benefit themselves die with their names, but all those who live to benefit others die leaving their names on earth, and most importantly, is remembered in heaven. I think it's a very thought-provoking statement. Then we move to number 4 about giving. And number 4, we are saying that giving should be a multidimensional. Multidimensional means giving must be more than just money. Must be more than just money. I heard that Nana Sefachum last Saturday talking about going beyond money. So we give our time to help God's work and to help others. Our physical energy can be dispensed towards God's work and others. Our prayers for others and for God's work is part of giving. How many people are in your prayer list is one of the habits that Christians need to cultivate. Because sometimes some people talk of no money and therefore I can't give, forgetting that even prayers are part of our giving portfolio. In our giving portfolio, we have our usual money. Then we can give or dispense our talents and expertise to help God's work or to help people. God bless us with creative ideas every now and then. Part of the ideas could be used in giving. So some of the ideas are usually utilized to advance the work of God and to lift people up. Our health messages and so on and so forth could be part of our giving. Then, last but not the least, most importantly, spreading the gospel truth, being a soul winner, witnessing is a major component of our giving portfolio. And God expects us to use all these to uplift others and to advance the work of God. So giving affects every aspect of life. We use the entire life, the whole being, to give as God gives all to us in His Son, Jesus Christ. So giving is multidimensional. multidimensional. Then, number 5, we talk of giving, which should be diversified. Diversified means whatever we are endowed with, whom should benefit from it. So, God, our Creator Himself, our Redeemer and Sustainer, who gave all these that we have, is waiting and is always waiting to receive part, a pittance of it. Our nucleus family, spouse, children, maids, and so on in our nucleus family are part of those who must receive whatever we have. Our parents must receive. Sometimes some of us have problems with especially our fathers. Some of our fathers mistreated us, especially those of us who were not taken care of by our fathers. As for our mothers, they are very good. Generally, they are very good by the fathers. So sometimes some of us think, as for my father, no, it's a no-go area. I can't give anything to him. I was a victim. My father never took care of me. But then, whilst I was at the university and was reading books upon books, I got to understand. From the Bible and from all other books, I understood that there's no way I could practice tit for tat against my father or against anyone who has offended me. So straight after school, I put my mother and my father on my payslip every month they were receiving. And I know how God has continuously blessed me for all those things. So, our parents, if anyone was mistreated as I was, it's my prayer that today God helps you to change the mind towards that person. Then the poor and the vulnerable, widows, orphans, the sick, disabled, and so on and so forth, they also have their share in our giving pattern. For them, Jesus singled them out and preached seriously in their favor. It's our duty. We have a major duty towards them. Then we have a major duty towards our pastors and our shepherdess. A lot of us haven't cultivated that habit of giving to pastors and shepherdess. I learned a lot about that and started practicing it. In major congregations, camp meetings, and other meetings, the pastors who are present benefit something small from my giving portfolio and their wives. And it really pays. Receiving thank you from a pastor means a lot. I emphasize it. Receiving thank you from a pastor means a big thing. So, Paul explained it. Whenever we give to the gospel workers, we deposit something precious in the heavenly bank. And God makes sure that there is a continuous flow of income in your favor, wealth in your favor. Let us cultivate it and let us help our pastors and our shepherds. Then our siblings, extended family members must receive part of our giving portfolio. The needy church members, our friends and well-wishers, those who have seriously done bad things against us, whom we don't even want to see or hear. Probably somebody has squandered your money. You send something to a friend, an uncle, a brother, a sister to do something for you, and that was it. So there's a big gap between you and that person. When you hear that the person is sick, or when you hear that he's sick or he's bereaved, you don't care. Please, I believe you take my advice seriously. Have a change of outlook towards such people. Jesus said, if you love only those who love you, what have you done? What is the difference between you and those who don't worship God? Jesus said, they also do the same thing. So what makes you a unique person in the sight of God is to include those who have seriously offended you and those who hate you in your giving portfolio. When you hear they are in dire need, kindly call them. Tell them you are praying for them. Give them the little that you can. And I tell you, it will touch the heart of God, because God knows the offense, and it will touch the heart of God, and God will bless you for that. Then part of our giving portfolio must go to the lesser world, animals and the ecosystem. As for you in the advanced countries, you are blessed to have that experience. When I'm over there and I see these wives feeding the grass cutters and all kinds of animals that do not belong to them, just nature, I say, wow, in our countries, are we able to do that? In our countries, even those animals that belong to us, we mistreat them. But God expects us to be kind and to help them, give them the needed materials. Giving directly to God in terms of tithe offering, special donations, and all others is a great blessing, great returns to us. But I must mention one special thing. Whenever you are preparing your last will and testament, kindly remember your God, who gave you the opportunity to be on his earth, who gave you the gift of life, who gave you all the opportunities, varied blessings and resources whilst you were on earth. Remember him and give him part. Let something from you outlive you in the house of God. Be a blessing to your church in furtherance of God's work, even after you are called to eternity. And that is a great blessing to you. Giving to people, as James 1:27 said, pure origin is to help the needy and the vulnerable. Sometimes some people talk about, do you know why he's poor? Do you know why he's like this? He's like this. I always tell people in my country or over here that when you see the mad person, what could have made him to think to work is damaged. But what makes him hungry is functional. So he's always hungry and he needs to depend on us. There are several needy people, vulnerable people who are dependent on us. Former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher once said, no one would have remembered the Good Samaritan if he had not done what he did. If he had only good intentions and he had not done what he did, no one would have remembered him. The Good Samaritan had good heart and he had money to pay an innkeeper to help take care of the injured man. Money was involved. Money was at its best that day. Money gives power to good intentions in the hands of good-hearted people. Is it not a fun to lift people up through our generosity and see the smiles on their faces? But it's sad that some people try to avoid giving and mistakenly think that they will end up getting more money and wealth. They will be blessed. It's sad. It's not. There was this guy, Eric Butterworth, who tells an interesting story. How people capture monkeys in the jungle. He said they use heavy glass bottles with long necks. Then into each bottle, they deposit some sweet-smelling nuts. The aroma of the nuts attracts the monkeys to the bottle. When the monkeys push their hand into the bottle to get the nuts, the neck of the bottle is too small for the fist of the monkeys to come out. The monkey can't take his hand out of the bottle without dropping the nuts, which it is unwilling to do. The bottles are also too heavy to carry away. So the monkeys become trapped by nothing more than greed. Because their unwillingness to part with, they get trapped and they get caught and killed. We may smile at these foolish monkeys, but how many times has one's freedom and wealth been taken away by nothing more than greed? I believe participants are never greedy. We give and God will continue to bless you all. Number 6, giving should be multi-generational. Our young ones, our children, must be taught to be givers. Generally Jews are not only most philanthropic group, but also the wealthiest group in various countries. This is partly because young Jews are deliberately taught by their parents to know the importance and blessings accrued from giving. They are taught also to teach their children and their children's children. So as a Jew grows up, he knows the importance of giving. And they don't give their money and other resources just because it is rational. No. But because they are well convinced of what they will get in addition to being a blessing to others. So for the Jews, they have a saying that goes like this, that if you see someone giving money or anything to help others, there's one thing that you can be sure and certain, that his blessings, including wealth, is increasing. So for Jews, most of them, even if they are not worshiping God, they remove their tithe and send to any church that, please, I have an obligation towards God, so take it and use it on behalf of God. A lot of them return tithes even though they don't attend any church. And a lot of them have accounts that they deposit a certain percentage of their incomes for charity purposes. The principle of giving creates a lifestyle that attracts God's blessings. And having a generous outlook on life and teaching our children to do the same. There's one thing that you are doing. If anyone does that, you are creating a legacy of continual reaping from generation to generation. So when we teach our children to be givers, and they take upon the spirit of giving, and they also teach their children, and goes on, what we have started doing is that we are leaving a great legacy, and that family will never get poor. That family will continue to be richer and richer and richer, and that is the legacy you leave. Then the rewards. There are two categories of rewards for those who give: the earthly reward and the eternal reward. Two things occur when we give. Whenever we give to people, especially the poor, the vulnerable, and all others, the Bible says we do it for God Himself. That's what Jesus said, that in as much as you've done for one of the least of these, you have done for me. Helping people is lending money or other resources to God. And in that, he becomes a debtor who will pay back what he has been given in multiples. And that is why we said it is a spiritual investment. Proverbs 19:17. We give to people, and God said, okay, I'm behind that person. It is me that you indirectly give. And let me return the yield in multiples. So God pays the greatest interest than our bankers. That is spiritual investment. That's the first thing that occurs. The second thing that occurs, Mrs. White said that whenever we give, we transfer wealth from earth to heaven. And that says Mark 10:21 also. It says every opportunity to help a brother in need or a sister in need, or aid the cause of God in the spread of the truth, is a pearl that you can send beforehand and deposit in the bank of heaven for safekeeping. You keep for eternity only what you have given away. That is the second. We give and it's sent into the heavenly bank account to wait for us. That is it. There is this thing that is told that there is a guy, a man who is a giver. He isn't well to do, but he gives a lot. Whatever he gets, he's willing to give more of it to others. So he used to visit children's home, and he had a millionaire friend. And one day he invited the millionaire friend, who is not a giver, to accompany him to a children's home. Then this millionaire bought some wheelchairs because he was told there are some of them who are lame and need it. So he went with wheelchairs. After donation at the children's home to these cripples, this millionaire, who is not a giver, saw how happy these children were, displaying with their wheelchairs, moving everywhere. He saw how they were when they first entered the place, how they were stuck and they had the difficulties in moving. Then he saw after donation how they had become, the smiles on their faces and and their movement and how happy they were. And this millionaire was just excited like that. After everything, they had to leave. And this millionaire went to his car. When he entered into the car, there was this one young cripple who moved with the wheelchair, rushed to the car and asked the millionaire to get down. The millionaire got down and asked the cripple, "Is there something else that I could do for you again?" Then this cripple said, "No, please, but bend down a bit." This millionaire bent, and the cripple told this millionaire, "Please, do you know why I chased you?" He said, "No." He said, "You know, because of your gifts, I rushed to you to just make sure I look at your face very well, because in heaven, I want to recognize your face. I don't want to go to heaven, then cannot see you well. So I want to see you in heaven, because Jesus had said so. As you gave to the cripple, you have given to me. So I believe Jesus is taking you to heaven, and I want to recognize you. That is why I came to look at your face again." And it was this that touched the millionaire's heart. That, what is this? Wow, I was very happy, but I'm really tired by this. I need to be in heaven. And that was the time that the millionaire decided to continue on with the giving, because he was now convinced that apart from being blessed on earth, he would be blessed by being to heaven. In my conclusion, I want to say that God has created us like rivers, not like lakes or ponds. Lakes and ponds are at one place, and they don't spread their blessings. But we are like rivers to bless many people wherever we are. All the time, we are blessed to be blessed. We are blessed to be a blessing to others. With humility and prayers, follow the principle of consistent giving, and God will bless you beyond measure. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Contributions and questions. Thank you very much.